As we now know, we are expecting another fuel price decrease come next month as the US dollar and the oil price keeps going in the downward direction. But it's not good news regarding food prices now that we are in the brand new year. But with the lower fuel prices, we would expect food prices to come down, but it's not the case. The December 2022 Household Affordability Index showed an increase, in fact, in the household food basket. So let's head over to joining us to Pietermaritzburg now for the Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group's Mervyn who with us seems to be every single month. Mervyn, I was hoping this might be the year that you were going to tell us that food prices are coming down, but it's not to be. So fuel is now cheaper and it's going to be cheaper again next month. Why isn't that translating? Good morning.
Good morning, Gareth, and good morning to all your viewers. Gareth, we were also hoping that we could say that prices will come down, but according to our index in the month of December, our basket of food increased by 17 Rand to 4,853 Rand, which is an increase over the past year of 577 Rand. Gareth, there seems to be a lot of anomalies within the value chain. Because correctly, as you've said, fuel prices are coming down. We are also seeing some global commodity prices coming down, like the prices of wheat, sunflower, etc. And yet in South Africa, we seem to continue to see increases in food prices. So we have to begin to ask the question whether the decreases that we are seeing at the global level, so the fuel price, the diesel price, global commodity prices, whether it is just a time lag and we will begin to see prices coming down in the next month or two, or we have to ask the question where in the value chain are producers, manufacturers or retailers not passing on their savings to the consumer. So it could be one of either of these pictures, but because we do not have sufficient data, Gareth, we cannot pinpoint in which direction the problem lies.
Speaking of data, if we use the national minimum wage, Mervyn, as perhaps a gauge on this, if the data that I have is correct, if you take into account the cost of electricity and the cost of transport, and we use the figure of the national minimum wage, workers are using almost 2/3 of their salary just to pay for electricity and transport. They haven't even begun to buy anything in the food basket yet.
Exactly, Gareth, and that's why in South Africa, we have this massive affordability crisis. Because what is happening is that food prices are way above inflation. So food price inflation, according to Stats SA, is almost 13%, and our basket is 13.5%. Electricity increases by 10 or so percent every year. They're now asking for more, while wages are not keeping trend with that. One good news, though, is that the Department of Labor is asking the National Minimum Wage Commission to increase the national minimum wage by at least 8%, which will be above inflation. So it will help a little bit, but we will still be in an affordability crisis as far as households are concerned.
So obviously we're expecting a State of the Nation address, as is normally the case this early in the year. What would you like to hear the President say about the cost of living and the minimum wage and how people are barely scraping by?
So we would hope that the President announces and that the National Minimum Wage Commission has finalized all the submissions so that he can announce an above CPI wage increase. But Gareth, we've also been asking in our latest media statement that the state considers a top up to the child support grant at the beginning of the year. Now, some of your viewers have been voting on school uniform costs, their stationery costs. There are just so much extra costs in January to send our children to school, and about 13 million South African children are getting, or close to 13 million are getting the child support grant. And we believe that in January there should be an additional back to school a level of at least a double of the grant in order to help parents over this time, because if they don't get an extra amount, they would have to take food money to send children to school or go deeper into debt.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why I think we're getting so many angry comments, Mervyn, on our Facebook page and Twitter account when I asked about the cost of school uniforms, because there isn't extra money. Payday is now even further away than last month, and you still got to put food on the table. But I always appreciate your time. Mervyn Abrams, Pietermaritzburg Economic Justice and Dignity Group Program Coordinator. Mervyn always makes such good sense at explaining why things are costing what they are and the impact that it has on the regular consumer in South Africa.